Chinese smartphone makers are taking over top smartphone positions, and for good reason. The hardware is often a great deal. Not aiming for the high end, ZTE's sub-brand Nubia is looking to be a well-rounded, affordable Android handset. The Nubia Z11 Mini is pocket-friendly at 5 inches with a full HD display that has good color accuracy and half-decent viewing angles. Under the hood, we have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 617 processor with 3 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage. Overall, performance is smooth, apps are quick to open, and the only time we really noticed that it's not a high-end processor is when we were editing photos, and it took a little bit longer than we're used to stay when using Snapseed. At 138 grams and 8mm thick, the Z11 Mini is sleek-looking with a build that feels durable. Certain design elements feel like they've been pulled from other handsets, but I'm not bothered since I do think the Z11 Mini stands on its own with a red halo sitting at the focal point of navigation. With traditional Android hardware navigation buttons, the Z11 Mini brings some surprisingly useful edge gestures to the table. I was decidedly skeptical, but I did find myself using the 2-finger slide to control the volume, and slide up to go to the previous app. Or even slide up and down to launch the music or the camera. You can customize which apps you launch, and I never had a misfire. Unlike the fingerprint reader on the back, which wasn't that reliable. I had a 70% success rate, which was enough to make me stop using it. It started out great, but over 2 weeks, it got less and less accurate. The lack of Android Marshmallow and the average battery life are the 2 things to watch out for. During heavy use with GPS on, it barely got me through the day. However, I would say for average use, like 10-15 minutes of photo taking, an hour and a half of streaming music, an hour and a half of email and social media, I used just under 50%. So most days, I got through the day just fine. Adding GPS seems to drain the battery quickly, but this is something they could fix in a software update. The software feature that you should be sure to turn on is DTS audio. I can't show you, but believe me, it sounds much fuller when you use your headphones. The speaker volume and clarity is fine if you want to share a YouTube video or two. And it's also future-proof, using USB Type-C, which is reversible, a dual SIM card slot where you can use one for expandable storage with an SD card slot, and the camera is pretty good. It has a ton of high-end features like time-lapse and slow motion, but to be honest, the photo quality is much better than the video quality. Using slow motion, you see visible artifacts, and time-lapse has difficulty with exposure. But if you stick to photo taking and you add in a couple of tweaks, you can get a great photo. The front-facing camera also takes a pretty good selfie, but when you add a few drinks into the mix, you can see that it's difficult to get everyone in focus. Beautify is pretty natural, though you'll want to keep it towards the middle and low one, or you'll look like a China doll. For $230 or 1,500 yuan, I have no problem recommending the Z11 Mini as your daily driver. If you like this video, why don't you give us a like or subscribe to our channel. I'm your host, Nicole Scott for Mobile Geeks.
What?